Australia is commonly associated with a specific set of images: endless sunshine, red dirt, and marsupials standing in the dry outback. It is a continent of immense scale, containing over 10,000 individual beaches and a single coral reef system that can be seen from space. This globally recognized utopia is a remarkably recent development. Rewinding the clock reveals the difficult conditions that shaped the nation's foundation. Early European explorers mapped the coastline and decided the environment was too harsh to sustain settlement. Yet, it became one of the wealthiest nations on Earth. Tracing the timeline of extreme isolation, harsh penal systems, and territorial conflict reveals how this remote continent became a global power. This timeline illustrates human presence on the continent. Aboriginal Australians arrived here over 65,000 years ago, establishing one of the oldest continuous civilizations on the planet. Modern recorded history occupies only the far right edge of this chart. The vast expanse preceding it belongs to indigenous nations. Across those millennia, hundreds of unique languages and distinct cultural groups developed. They relied on a deep understanding of the natural environment and oral traditions passed down through generations to thrive in the continent's most difficult climates. This civilization evolved in near-complete geographic isolation from the rest of the human population for tens of thousands of years. British arrival in the 1700s brought them into contact with an ancient, populated world with established social structures and deep territorial ties. In 1770, Captain James Cook mapped the eastern coast and claimed the territory for Great Britain. In 1788, Britain established a permanent settlement at Sydney Cove as an open-air prison. Thousands of convicts, many sentenced for minor theft, were shipped across the globe to serve their terms through hard labor. As the colonial footprint grew, settlers claimed fertile land and vital water sources. This expansion led directly to violent territorial clashes with Aboriginal communities. Indigenous populations faced devastating losses. Introduced diseases swept through communities, while physical conflicts over traditional grounds resulted in widespread violence and forced displacement. The nation's foundations consist of a harsh penal system and the displacement of the continent's original inhabitants. This graph tracks the colonial population and economic output. The line sharply spikes in 1851, the year gold was discovered in the Southeastern Territories. The influx of global wealth funded rapid urbanization. Scattered prison outposts became connected cities with railways, banks, and permanent infrastructure. By January 1, 1901, the 6 distinct British colonies grew robust enough to unite. They formally federated to create the independent Commonwealth of Australia. Political federation provided a legal framework, but a true test of unified national identity arrived when Australian forces deployed to fight in World War I. During the 1915 Gallipoli campaign, those soldiers suffered staggering casualties. Their resilience under heavy fire solidified the Anzac legend, a shared experience of sacrifice. The influx of mineral wealth provided the capital for development, while the shared experience of an overseas war defined a distinct, self-reliant culture. These events shifted the former colonies away from their British origins toward a sovereign national identity. Following the Second World War, the country entered a period of economic growth that required a larger workforce to build national infrastructure and sustain industry. In response, Australia initiated large-scale immigration programs. Millions of people arrived from across Europe and Asia, shifting the nation's demographics. This demographic shift accelerated urbanization. Isolated ports expanded into cosmopolitan centers for education, commerce, and the arts. These developments created the environment seen in modern imagery, the high standard of living, protected natural wonders, and globally recognized urban centers. Australia's modern stability results from 65,000 years of indigenous heritage, the difficult origins of its penal system, and a post-war workforce that expanded the nation's capacity. Each layer of this history remains visible in the country's current identity.